Ancient Japanese women played diverse and significant roles in their society, influenced by various cultural, religious, and political factors over different historical periods. Women in the Jomon period participated in hunting, gathering, and pottery making. The society was relatively egalitarian, with women playing central roles in family and community life. Female figures in Jomon pottery, often intricately designed and prominently featured, suggest that women held spiritual roles in society. These figures are small clay figurines that frequently depict women with exaggerated features, possibly representing fertility, motherhood, or divine attributes. Their detailed and symbolic nature implies that women might have been revered as spiritual leaders or shamans, playing crucial roles in the religious and ritualistic practices of the Jomon people. The Yayoi period saw the introduction of rice cultivation. Women were involved in farming, weaving, and pottery. Society became more stratified, but women still played crucial roles in agricultural and household management. During the Kofun period, the construction of large burial mounds, known as Kofun, reflects a hierarchical society with clearly defined social ranks. These burial mounds varied in size and complexity, indicating the social status of the individuals interred within. Among these tombs, some contained artifacts and arrangements that suggest the buried individuals were women of high status, such as queens or priestesses. These findings imply that such women held significant power and influence in their society, possibly participating in governance, religious ceremonies, or other important societal roles. The elaborate nature of their burials highlights their prominence and the respect they commanded during their lifetimes. Buddhism arrived in Japan in the 6th century, influencing gender roles. Some women became Buddhist nuns and held significant religious positions. During the Asuka and Nara periods, the political landscape of Japan saw several reigning empresses, which demonstrates that women could attain the highest levels of political power. Notably, Empress Suiko and Empress Kōgyoku are prime examples of women who ruled as sovereigns. Her reign also saw significant infrastructure projects, such as the construction of roads and the expansion of the palace complex, indicating her administrative capabilities. The reigns of Empress Suiko and Empress Kōgyoku highlight that women could and did hold the highest political authority in ancient Japan. Women at the Heian court had considerable influence and freedom compared to later periods. They engaged in literary and artistic pursuits. Women produced some of Japan's most significant literary works. Murasaki Shikibu wrote The Tale of Genji, and Sei Shonagon wrote The Pillow Book, both offering insights into court life and women's experiences. They could own property and had certain legal rights, but these diminished over time. During the Kamakura and Muromachi periods, some samurai women, known as Onna Bugeisha, were trained in martial arts and actively participated in battles. Female members of the samurai class played significant roles in defending their families, estates, and honor during times of conflict. Onna Bugeisha were trained in various martial arts, including archery, swordsmanship, and the use of naginata. Their training was comparable to that of male samurai, emphasizing combat readiness and strategic acumen. The primary role of Onna Bugeisha was to protect their homes and communities, especially when male warriors were away in battle. They were expected to defend their families and manage the estate during times of unrest. They were not merely defensive fighters. They actively participated in battles when necessary. Their presence on the battlefield was not uncommon, particularly during periods of civil war and internal strife. Beyond their martial responsibilities, Onna Bugeisha were also integral to the management of their households. They oversaw the administration of estates, including agricultural production, finances, and servant management. The rise of the feudal system led to stricter social hierarchies, and women's roles became more confined to domestic duties. Women continued to play roles in religious life. Some nuns established their own temples and became influential spiritual leaders. During the Edo period, Confucianism deeply influenced society. emphasizing and reinforcing women's roles as obedient daughters, wives, and mothers. Women's rights were further restricted. They had fewer opportunities for education and legal autonomy compared to earlier periods. Confucianism emphasized the 3 obediences and 4 virtues for women. 3 obediences. A woman should obey her father before marriage, her husband after marriage, and her sons in widowhood. 4 virtues. These virtues were propriety, righteousness, decorum, and work, which defined the ideal behavior and responsibilities of women. This ideology dictated that women's primary roles were as obedient daughters, devoted wives, and nurturing mothers. Education for women focused on preparing them for these roles, often emphasizing domestic skills over intellectual development. Formal education for women was limited. While boys might attend temple schools for literacy and moral education, girls' education was often confined to learning domestic skills at home. Women had limited legal rights. They could not own property independently. Property was typically controlled by their fathers, husbands, or sons. Marriages were often arranged, and a woman's role within marriage was clearly defined by her subservience to her husband. Divorce was more easily initiated by men, whereas women had limited grounds and opportunities to seek separation. Despite these restrictions, women held significant responsibilities within their families, particularly as mothers and wives. Wives managed the daily operations of the household, including finances, food preparation, and maintaining harmony within the family. In samurai families, women might also be responsible for overseeing servants and ensuring the proper conduct of the household. Women in merchant and artisan families could participate in family businesses and manage households. Geisha provided entertainment through their artistic skills, offering performances at tea houses, parties, and gatherings. Their presence added elegance and sophistication to social events, and they were admired for their mastery of traditional arts. Geisha houses, known as okiya, served as residences and training centers for geisha. Tea houses, or ochaya, were venues where geisha performed and entertained patrons. Okiya were typically managed by female proprietors, known as okasan. The role of geisha in Japanese society is distinct from that of prostitutes, although historically there has been some confusion or conflation of the 2 roles, particularly in Western perceptions. While there may have been some stigma or misconceptions surrounding the geisha profession, particularly among conservative or moralistic segments of society, geisha were generally viewed as respectable professionals who provided valuable cultural and entertainment services. Ancient Japanese women navigated a challenging world with resilience and strength, managing households, influencing politics, and enriching culture despite societal restrictions. Their enduring legacy reminds us of their profound impact and the vital roles women have always played.